Hey guys, I just want to welcome you back again for the last course, and this is on morning rituals. And again, I'm honoring you for making it this far, going through all the modules here, and I'm hoping it's making a difference already. We will be talking, of course. This is with this course you do get the coaching as well. So I'm excited to talk to you personally about this. And this course is actually on morning rituals. And I bet you can't guess what all successful entrepreneurs and sports athletes and high performing people have start their day with. I bet you can't guess. So of course it's morning rituals. And it's pretty interesting because it was Jim Rohn who said, if you want to follow the habits of highly successful people, follow what rich people do. If you don't, follow what poor people do. So there's no reason that success leaves clues, and it's no different if you're reading a personal development book, which is great because anybody that wrote a personal development book went through a lot of difficulties in their lives and they figured things out. It could have taken them, maybe 10 years or 20 years of research, or even less to actually write that book. And then you're gaining all that insight within the time that you're able to read it. So it's pretty amazing. And in the one book that comes to mind, and this is on my top 10, reading list for personal development. It's actually at the end of, it's the last course here. And it's just giving you my top 10. And one of them is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And what he did is he basically interviewed, I can't remember how many people he interviewed, but quite a bit, a lot of highly successful people. And all he did is interview them and found out their secrets. Of course, every single one of them all had a morning ritual. So again, success leaves clues. There's no, I'm not surprised that this actually happened. So anyways, how we start our day sets the tone for the day. So our morning is what sets the tone for the day. So what we do in the morning. So unfortunately, most of us start our morning by checking our emails, by going on social media. And, if we're checking our emails and it's a work-related thing, now we're already starting to get that stress, that cortisol and norepinephrine in us because, oh my gosh, I got this to do at work. And then we're going on social media and we're seeing someone in, sunny, Costa Rica while we're here in the States, or, even if you're in Michigan, geez, we really had the least amount of sun this winter. So we still haven't seen much sun this winter. So, that will cause stress starting our day. And, we're either getting jealous of the people on social media or stressed about the things that we have to do in work. Or it's the fact that we're stressed about any kind of bills we have to pay or debt that we're in, or, the workload we have, and or just family life in general, that's one of the biggest things. So again, how we start our morning sets the day. So if we're basically starting our morning with, frustration and irritation, how do you think the rest of the day is going to go? And if we have a structured routine, it basically increases overall happiness. It really does. When you have that time in the morning for yourself, and we're going to get into this, having that time in the morning for yourself allows you that quietness, that calmness. And this is the first start of the morning, because what we're essentially doing is we're priming ourselves for a better day. And, it basically allows us to take control of our schedule and not rush in the morning. And, again, priming ourselves for the day just allows us to be more productive, to be more focused. And we're going to get into this with certain morning rituals to start the day. But for the most part, our morning is our key element to kick off the day. And remember, whatever we focus on is what expands. Okay, so if we're focusing on the negatives, the disappointments, the bills, everything else, the stress, what do you think is going to happen the rest of the day? We have something called, and I know I've talked about this before, called the reticular activating system. And all it is it's a part of our brain that basically picks out what we're mostly focusing on. So let's say, for instance, you're seeing the Ford Broncos everywhere, and you're like, man, those Ford Broncos are cool. You're going to start seeing them more and more. Or a woman with wants to get these really cool shoes, and all of a sudden she's going to see them more and more. And that's what our brain's designed to do, is to actually focus on what we're actually focusing on in our brain. So if we focus on the good, if we focus on not being rushed, if we focus on the positives, what's going to happen with your day? You're going to focus on that positive. So, again, the hardest thing with a lot of people is that they're waking up late, they're rushing to get the kids to school, to rushing to make breakfast, and they're rushing to go to a job that sadly most aren't satisfied in. I think it's 80% of the people that are dissatisfied with their jobs. So now they're rushing to go somewhere that they not exactly happy to go to. And then how do you think your day is going to be then when you're going to that place, that job that, again, you're not very satisfied in as well. So it's quite amazing, what happens in the morning when we start our day like that. And now imagine having a morning where you have an extra hour in the morning of peace and quiet and tranquility to basically kick off your day. And we're going to go through certain things to do. And I know you've experienced this before, whether you have a big family or you've gone on vacation and, or you're traveling somewhere and you're alone and you have that morning to yourself and there's no stress, there's no distractions. That feeling. It's a wonderful feeling. It's a great way to wake up when you don't have all that stress. So you'll actually also, when with these morning rituals, you'll have more energy and you'll be more productive, and you won't be starting your day stressed. So again, we are priming ourselves for an amazing day. So what morning rituals will do is they actually improve the quality of your sleep, because what we're going to do, and you guys saw the sleep module as well, we're going to be consistent with our sleep schedule. That is so key. Again, that sets our circadian rhythm. It's very important that we do this. So, this morning ritual is going to basically improve the quality of our sleep, because we're going to be going to sleep at the same time and waking up at the same time. And we'll go over that as well. So it's going to boost confidence and self-esteem, because remember, you're going to be congruent with your identity, okay? And remember, we choose the identity we want. So we're choosing the identity of someone that gets things done, that's very productive, that says what they're going to do. And when we tell ourselves we're going to do something and we don't, we beat ourselves up, we have low self-esteem. And then when we do the things that we tell ourselves we're going to do, well, that boosts dopamine. It gives us the pleasure. It's a pleasure chemical. So it makes us feel good. It boosts our self-esteem. We have more confidence. So again, when we're congruent with our identity of the person we want to be, and that's a person now that's going to wake up early and they're going to do these things. So, and the other thing it does is it really sets a great example for your kids, for your family, even your friends, if they know about this. This was something that I did. And when I started my personal development journey, this was about 8-9 years ago, when I did the morning routines and I stacked them, I tell you what, it just felt amazing. I had more energy. I felt great. I was confident enough that, hey man, I started doing this and it snowballed and it gave me more confidence. So again, this is setting a great example for your family, your kids. That was one of the things I did, is I wanted to lead and show my son an example of someone that gets things done, that is, basically what I tell myself I'm going to do, I do. And I'm very thankful and blessed that my son has followed suit. He's only 17, but he's doing things most 17-year-olds don't actually do, or myself at that age. So again, it sets a great example for your kids. So our morning routine is always, 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 always going to start at night. The first thing we want to do is we want to basically set our schedule for the day. So what we're doing is we're starting a to-do list, and we're putting down the things that we're going to do. And believe me, this helps so much. When you wake up in the morning and you're kind of floating, I call it drifting on a boat without a rudder. You're just kind of floating around. You're less productive. When we have a to-do list and we have those things that, okay, I'm doing this, this, and this. And it doesn't have to be a lot, but if you have that to-do list, you're more focused and you're more productive. So having that to-do list is key because it starts our day with focus, which is great. All right, this is the one most people aren't going to like. We are going to wake up an hour early, okay? Which means that we are going to go to bed an hour early as well. So you will get used to this, believe me, and you will be grateful for this because sleep is one of the biggest things we can do for our brain health, for our focus, for our productivity, okay? 7 to 8 hours, we talked about this in the sleep module. But what happens is this: if you go to bed an hour early, okay, one, just like the sleep schedule before that night, don't be on your screens, don't be on TVs, eliminate blue light for at least an hour and a half to 2 hours if possible before you go to bed. So when we do that, we're basically going to get a much better sleep. So if we go to bed early, an hour early, I want you to try this. Set a second alarm. Don't set an alarm. Again, set a second alarm, but don't set an alarm. We want our bodies to wake up naturally, not with the sound of an alarm clock. It can be stressful for some people, but this is amazing. And I've been doing this for now about 4 years now. I'm adamant. I'm usually in bed by 9 o'clock, and I usually wake up by 5 o'clock or even sometimes before that because I'm getting my full 7 to 8 hours. My body is going to tell me when I need to wake up. And that is key. So if you go to bed an hour early, your body is going to naturally wake up. But I'm going to say set a second alarm just in case, especially if you have a flight or important meeting or something. It's very important to have that second alarm just in case. But once you start waking up naturally, you just feel so much better. And then again, you're getting quality sleep, 7 to 8 hours. Just amazing. So researchers have showed that if you wake up an hour early, you become more optimistic and very productive as well. And Robin Sharma, sorry that book didn't make it to my top 10, but he wrote a book called The 5 a.m. Club. And it's basically just, again, high achievers, they're waking up early every morning. And this was interesting. Tim Grover wrote a book called Relentless. And basically, he trained top basketball athletes. One of his athletes that he trained was Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan, man, had an incredible work ethic. And if you know his story, he's got an incredible story, but this is interesting. He wanted to know from Tim Grover when he started training with him, he's like, all right, I know you've trained some of the top athletes, top basketball players. Who in my realm, what time do they get up? How many baskets do they shoot? Tim Grover told him. And what Michael Jordan did, got up an hour earlier. He shot twice as many baskets. And that's why he was one of the greatest of all time. So fantastic book, Tim Grover, Relentless. Get it. As an athlete, I just absolutely loved it. But it's a wonderful, well-read book. Easy to read too. So now, waking up. Don't touch your phone. What I want you to do is this. I want you to think of 3 things that you're grateful for. Just 3 things. And it's amazing what this does. Again, what we focus on expands. If we're focusing on 3 things that we're grateful for every morning, you're going to be blown away on how your day goes and the things that you will see and focus on. So I always wake up, and it's actually hardwired in my brain now that I wake up and instantly I'm like, okay, 3 things. And I'm always thinking of something different. So it could be, obvious things, we have a roof overhead, we have clothes on our back, we have food in the fridge. Those are obvious things, and, we're richer than 98% of the world. But it could be simple things like my heart is beating properly, or I have, if somebody lost a finger, say for instance, well, they have 9 others. And I have a buddy who lost his index finger. And it's funny because anytime he points, he's pointing with his middle finger. I think he does this on purpose. Anyways, grateful that you have, 9 or 10 fingers and 10 toes or 9 toes or what have you. So there is so many things that we can be grateful for. The health of our children, the health of our family or ourselves. There are so many things. So what I want you to do is I want you to start your day with gratitude. And at the end of the day, when you're in bed, I do this every night, I think of 3 things that I'm thankful for that happened throughout the day. And I tell you what, even if you have a shitty day, you can always think of 3 things, you know. Sometimes it takes me a lot longer, not very often, but for the most part, it can take a little longer. But for the most part, I want you to just think of 3 things that you are grateful for, things that happen throughout the day that you're thankful for. And the last thing I want you to do is I want you to reflect on the day. This is something the Stoics used to do, is that they would reflect on the day and basically see or realize the things that they could have done better, the things they could have said differently, anything to really kind of get you to that next level, meaning to, you know, our purpose of our life, a lot of our purpose in life is growth and contribution, but it's always to be a better person every day. And that's what the Stoics, that's what I love about philosophy. They just wanted to be better every day. And this is continuous practice every day. So just think of, you know, basically anything that happened throughout the day that you could have changed, you could have said differently. And there's times I do this and then I'm calling a friend or a buddy and say, hey man, I'm really sorry I said that. I hope that didn't, disturb you. Because I just, again, I want to, reflection is so key in understanding our thoughts and understanding ourselves. We'll get into that with meditation as well, but that is so key in our lives. So that's one thing I want you to do, is just reflect on the day. Okay. So again, practice gratitude, trains your brain to see the good in the world. And listen, man, there's a lot of good in the world. Don't watch the frickin' news, man. It's only going to show you the worst of the worst. A half hour, of news. I haven't watched the news in probably 10 years or longer, honestly. But you can watch like 30 minutes of news and there could be like 2-minute segment of good things that happen. So, eliminate the news and understand that there's so much beauty in the world. It's, again, what we focus on. If we're focusing on the good in the world, we're going to see the good. If we're focusing on the negative in the world, we will see our negative, okay? Because remember, our thoughts create what we see. So anytime we have negative thoughts, we're frustrated, we're irritated, that's all we're going to see. Again, focus, what you focus on expands. So practice gratitude. Science have proven that, basically people that are grateful are healthier and actually have healthier habits. Makes sense. No judgment. If you've met a negative person, you can kind of tell how their day is and how they talk and how they speak, and the mentality that they have, which could be a victimhood mentality, or that guy did this, or that guy did that, or she did this. So again, that's the biggest thing, is that when we focus on the good, that's what we're going to see. So and basically, we're going to have solid relationships. We're going to deal with stress much better when you're more grateful, when you're thankful for the things in your life, and have less depression. So again, we're going to start our day in the morning, okay, or that night starts the day. So we're going to wake up, we're going to go to sleep an hour early. We're going to avoid our blue screens at night for at least an hour and a half to 2 hours if possible. Read a great book, talk to your significant other, talk to your family. Connection is key. That was one of the modules. Connection is one of the biggest things we can do. You're going to wake up an hour. Well, we are going to wake up an hour early. If we go to bed earlier, you'll wake up earlier. Most people aren't going to sleep, over 8 hours, but it could happen. Set that second alarm. That is key. Again, start your day with gratitude. Next thing I do, as soon as my gratitude, I go downstairs and I drink lemon water. For one, we've been sleeping anywhere from, say even 5 to 8 hours. Okay. If you don't get a lot of sleep, we're going to be dehydrated no matter what. Also, one other thing I forgot, try not to drink water an hour before you go to bed, so you don't wake up in the middle of the night and have to pee. It's helped me a lot. I drink a ton of water. We are mostly chronically dehydrated. If you're hungry, if you have a headache, 99% of the time, or most of the time, I should say, it's because we're dehydrated. So 30 ounces of water, add lemon into it, organic, please. Just avoid the pesticides. So what happens is when you drink lemon water, it raises our pH level. Most of us that are on the standard American diet, if we're stressed, we're in an acidic state. And an acidic state is where disease lives. We want to be in an alkaline state. That's the state we want to be. That's our pH levels. So lemon water actually boosts our alkaline. Even though it's an acidic, fruit, it actually boosts our alkaline. So that is one of the key things. I've been doing this for years. It aids in digestion. It energizes the body as well. This is crazy, all the things. It boosts metabolism, stimulates digestion. That is key. Aids in weight loss, boosts immunity and our brain. And last is it gives us energy. So it's fascinating what that in the morning can do. So that's the first thing I do when I get out of bed after my gratitude is I will get my lemon water and prepare that. So, all right, I'm going to talk about meditation next. I love this part. Okay, meditation. So researchers have actually backed up that they trace meditation to over 5,000 BC. It's basically tied itself to many different religions and even philosophies at that. Mostly people associate it more with Buddhism, but there's so many different forms of religion and people that have been doing meditation for thousands and thousands of years, and there is a reason why. Um, it was honestly, when I started stacking everything, meditation was probably one of the biggest game changers for me. I might have said that on a lot of the things, but what it did for me is it basically increased my focus. So after about honestly 3 or 4 times that I did it, I'm at work and I felt like I was in flow state. I felt like I had no distractions. Like I was not preoccupied. I wasn't multitasking. I was just focusing on the task at hand, and it was amazing. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't. It really surprised me how much more focused I was. Now, with adding, of course, exercise in plant-based eating, healthy eating at that, eliminating stress in my life. All those factors helped. But I started meditation 7 years ago. And it was the first time I really felt focused. And also, when I talked to somebody, I was more present and aware. We all know those people you're talking with, and they're just not there. And my mom is one of them at times. And I mean, I even played a trick on her one time. I threw it out there. I was talking to her. I knew she wasn't really listening. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to become a monk in Tibet next week. I'm leaving. So, oh, that's nice. So it's quite funny that, you notice those people, they're not there, they're not focused, or you're thinking of the next thing you're going to say. With meditation, it stops so many different thoughts, and you're more consciously aware and focused on the person that you're speaking with. And you're not thinking of all the things that you're going to come back with. It's amazing. You may notice that when you talk to certain people, that they're more present, they're more focused, they're just there with you, and they're not rushing to say the next thing or talking over you, what have you. That's someone that probably meditates. I would almost guarantee it. So on top of more increased focus, I just was able to get more done. Again, I was more productive, highly more productive, because I didn't have those distractions. There weren't things coming at me where I could get sidetracked very easily. Okay, so squirrel, one of those things. So it was amazing that I was more productive because I was more focused. Um, it reduced a lot of stress, and I could handle stress much easier. It was amazing because again, those certain things that would stress me out, I'm just like, that's okay, and it was more relaxing. Now, of course, that's just again, that's our mindset. That's a lot of the things that we focus on. But for the most part, because I was focusing, I'm always trying to focus on the good in everything and in everybody and in the world. And when you do that, you are less stressed and less things stress you out. My memory and recall were just highly improved. On top of adding the diet, the research that I've done, stimulating the brain. It was amazing that my memory and my recall just improved incredibly. So what it does, it shifts our awareness, and basically we become the observer of our thoughts. And how important is that? Because if you know the Jim Rohn quote, be on guard at the doorway of your mind, okay? Because our thoughts, basically the things that are we thinking, usually come out in words. Watch your thoughts because they become your words. Watch your words because they become your action. Watch your action because they become your character, and watch your character because that becomes your destiny. That's actually a Taoism quote. I think I missed one in between there. Habits was another one. So for the most part, but you are basically you are the observer of your thoughts. So you start to notice the negative thoughts that come in. Again, this is pattern interruption. We're able to do this by being the observer of our thoughts. So when we're more focused on the things that are coming into our brain that we're thinking, we have 60,000 thoughts a day. Most of them are repetitive. Now, when we start observing those, we can start eliminating the negative aspects of those thoughts. So it's almost like rewiring our brain. It's quite amazing. So when I started doing that, I could focus more and actually rewire things that were not serving me, okay? Things that I was thinking that was not serving me, and it would come up and I'd be like, that doesn't serve me. And I actually use a pattern interruption called that's not me. So a negative thought that would come in, a consistent one that would come in, as soon as it came into my mind, that's not me. And I have eliminated two major thoughts in my brain that were characteristics of myself that I did not like. And I was able to change it. And meditation was the biggest one because we are the observer of our thoughts. And we can go deeper, and who's the observer of the observer? So that one's crazy. So anyway, that was the biggest thing that I noticed, is that, I was basically, could consciously be aware of the thoughts. It's also known to actually lengthen our telomeres. So our telomeres it's like a shoestring at the end of our DNA, and they get shorter as we age. And this has been proven to actually lengthen our telomeres. They've done brain scans on monks that have been um, meditating for a very long time, and they noticed also that their telomeres were actually not shortening; they're lengthening. And again, it slows down our aging process. It strengthens our immune system, which is pretty crazy. And they actually say, this is surprising, I just read this recently, is that 20 minutes of meditation is equivalent to 4 to 5 hours of sleep. So I can attest to something close to that, and I'll explain to you why. But that's the amazing part. And for me, well, let me get into this first because I'm going to tell you something kind of cool. So it also increases gray matter, and that improves our overall intelligence. Okay, so these are scientific studies in improving our intelligence. Basically, one of the biggest things is having a growth mindset and knowing that we can change our brain. That's through neuroplasticity. That's through neurogenesis. We have talked about that in the mindset part, but for the most part, that's what it will do. You will have noticeable differences within 1 week. I guarantee it. Within a week, you will notice a little bit calmer, a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more focused. Again, have more productivity. So you will notice the benefits in actually 1 week. I highly recommend starting with a guided meditation. So a lot of people like Headspace. The guy who started Headspace, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name. He was a monk actually, and from the UK. And he's got a great accent. So starting with him, everybody loves his accent. And guided meditations are the best way to start off, honestly, because he's basically guiding you through what you need to learn. So start with that. Start with guided meditation. Headspace is again one of the best things. I started with that about 7 years ago, and then the last 3 years, I actually went to a transcendental meditation course. I was in Holland 3 years ago. Went to a bookstore in this Holland, Michigan. Went to a bookstore and saw a book called Strength in Stillness by Bob Roth. And obviously I've been meditating for up to that. That was 4 years. I was meditating. Absolutely loved it. tried different forms of meditation, so I was always open, experimental, trying different forms of meditation. And this one in particular, I sat down and read a book on the bench. I started reading it. And I think I read half of the book and was actually blown away. Jerry Seinfeld attributed meditation to the success of the show Seinfeld, which is funny because it's really the only show I really liked watching. So it's amazing what it can do. The government used it, the military has used it. Transcendental meditation, just absolutely phenomenal. So with transcendental meditation, you're actually using a mantra. So in this mantra, basically what it is it allows you to help you eliminate the thoughts. So this is what happens in meditation. When you start, you're just going to focus on your breath. Nasal breathing is the best through the diaphragm, very similar to yoga, pranayama breathing. And you're just focusing on your breath. Yes, thoughts are going to come in. You're not going to eliminate thoughts. It's impossible. I'm sorry. The longer I meditated, I've had spans where it may be 20, 30 seconds of no thoughts, but it's just impossible not to not have those thoughts. So for the most part, you're focusing on your breath. When a thought comes in, you're using your mantra to eliminate that thought. So best way to think about is think about a road, and say the speed limit's like 40 miles an hour, and you're just seeing cars go by. These cars are your thoughts, okay? So here's a thought. Oh, use the mantra, eliminate the thought. What we're essentially doing is we don't want to be carried away in thought, and that's the biggest thing. And I've done this before where I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I might have been in that thought for like a minute or two. So we don't want to be carried away with thought. We're gonna see the thought's gonna come in. We eliminate it by actually focusing on our breathing and using a mantra. Transcendental meditation. It's a week course. It was amazing for me. I absolutely loved it. I got into the deepest meditation at their course, at their place of where we did the course. Absolutely amazing. There's something to be said about group meditation, and that's something you can also look into. But for the most part, using a mantra and has helped me tremendously, and I've gotten pretty deep into meditation from that. So again, with transcendental meditation, it's basically you do one in the morning and you do an afternoon one. I'm usually about 80% on the afternoon one, and there's just time that gets away from me that I'm not able to do it. But I will give you an incredible pro tip. You may do this in the morning. If you do an afternoon meditation, you can do this. I was in California about 5 years ago, and we were on a surf trip, and we had a guy that was worked in a coffee. He was a barista, right? So baristo, I can't remember. So he told me this little tip because I'm like, okay, I'm pretty tired. We had a big, morning surf session. I was pretty exhausted. I'm like, I'm gonna take a nap. He's like, dude, try this out. Drink coffee or espresso. I'm an espresso guy. Like, drink coffee or an espresso. Take your nap, and you're gonna wake up with a boost. Okay. And because it takes 15 minutes for the caffeine to get into our system. So I tried it and I was like, oh my gosh. And I did that for a while. About a couple months ago, I decided to try it with my meditation, my afternoon meditation. Again, you can do this in the morning as well. So I drank my espresso. I sat down for my 20-minute meditation. Holy cow, I woke up with a boost of energy. And that's what the afternoon meditation does for you. It gives you this incredible energy. It's pretty much close to taking a nap. Remember, they say 20 minutes of meditation is 4 to 5 hours of sleep. I can attest to that because, my gosh, I had a boost, and I do this almost every time in my afternoons because I do like my afternoon espresso. I just drink it's about 4 shots, and again, just know espresso is not all caffeine. It's just a darker, bolder taste. So that is my pro tip for you on meditation and afternoon meditation. But you could do this in the morning. So if you're going to do a morning, meditation, drink your coffee, drink your espresso, and as soon as you're done, immediately sit down into your meditation. So I hope this helps. Again, meditation is one of the biggest game changers. It doesn't surprise me why so many people have been using meditation in their life. And I tell you, it just, again, made me more focused, more productive, and it's just a great feeling overall. So any questions, please reach out to me, and I'm going to talk about journaling next. Okay, last two, journaling. Journaling was, again, another game changer for me as well. Just allows me to get my thoughts out. And what journaling has been scientifically proven to lower depression in people because they're getting their thoughts out there. We talked about this in one of the modules about how lonely people can feel, even if they're in a social gathering, or I should say in a family unit, how lonely people can feel. So journaling allows you to get those thoughts out on paper, okay? Again, most successful people, check it out. They all journal. There's a reason behind it. I know you guys have heard this before. So it does strengthen the memory, of course. You find more inspiration, so you're writing things down, whether it's a new business, whether it's anything that really inspires you, or things that you want to do, progress to a goal, anything your thoughts are, just put them down there. It improves your writing and communication skills. That was big for me, especially writing. I've always talked because I've been teaching water sports for 30 years, but for the most part it improved my writing, and eventually I want to write a book down the road. So journaling itself, and I've been doing it for, again, 6-7 years now, has really improved my writing as well. Gain self-confidence, tracks your progress and growth. Okay, this is cool. So again, I started 6-7 years ago, and I took out my first journal that I started writing in, and man, it was so cool to read because I was like, wow, look at how far I've come. And again, it's tracking your progress. So just showing how far you've actually come in life, the changes that you've overcome. It's great to go back to them. I go back to them not as much as I should, but I want to go back to them more. But for the most part, it's going to track that. The achieve goals, again, something that you're striving toward. Gives you self-confidence, strengthens your memory. And the things that maybe you can't talk to your friends or family or wife, or just don't want to at the time, you can get it out on paper. Something you're stressed about, something you're, just that's bothering you. Getting it out there and getting it off your mind is definitely makes a huge difference. So I tell you, journaling is key, guys. Add that to your repertoire and your morning rituals. And then I'm going to go into breath work. So breath work's another game changer for me. I think it was about 7 years ago when Wim Hof got all popular. I tried his program, man, and I tried the breath work, and I did the cold showers, and I'll talk in the next module. It's my last module. It's going to be on fasting and cold immersions or cold therapy. But that was amazing. Doing the cold showers, doing the breath work. It really gave me a boost of a lot of things. So basically, University of Michigan studied Wim Hof. I can't remember how long ago, maybe about 6 years ago. And what they did is they took him and they took 20 of his students. And what they did is they just injected him with a serum that would just slightly make you sick. Okay, so like flu-like symptoms, nothing major, anything like that. So the students and Wim Hof obviously been doing his program, which is a breath work every day, and also the cold therapy, whether it's cold immersions or cold showers. Not one of them got sick, and they were just blown away because it boosts our immunity. That was one of the biggest things that they were just floored about, is that, oh my gosh, not one of his students got sick. So that's one thing it does. It boosts immunity, raises your pH levels, again, just like the lemon water. Puts you in an alkaline state. That's what this breath work does as well. Increases blood flow, energy, reduces inflammation. It does give you a load of energy. There's times if I'm tired and sitting at my desk, I'll do the breath work. And I tell you what, I get a boost. I get a huge boost. So relaxes the body and mind. And this is basically what it is. It's quite simple. It's 30 breaths. It's a quick one, or a large inhale through the nose and a passive exhale. You're going to do that for 30 breaths. On the 30th, you passive exhale, let all the air out, and you're going to hold it. Hold it and as long as you can, and then you're going to sit with another round of that. So after you hold it, you're going to take a nice breathe in and out and start your second round and then your third round. You will notice your breath retentions will go up every time that you do it. Mine kind of plateaued out. It's not the purpose of it. I just feel good. I know the benefits of it. That's why I do it. Again, it's an ingrained habit that I have now. So that's just one of the things that I do. Check it out. I highly recommend you trying it. And I also recommend trying pranayama breathing, which is a 4-7-8. Do this when you're stressed. Do this when you have to go into a stressful situation, whether it's a workplace or somebody you have to meet with, or I don't know, you're fighting with your significant other, and you have to have that hard conversation. 4-7-8 is amazing. It's 4 seconds through the nose. Hold it for 7. When you breathe out for the 8, one or two things. You can put the tip of your tongue against the back of your teeth. That's the traditional way. Or you can blow out, pretend you're blowing out through a straw for 8 seconds. I love it. It downregulates my nervous system as well. So when you do a heavy workout, I do this every single time. When I teach a kettlebell class, I teach my students to do this afterwards. When I do any kind of heavy workout, I do this every time. I do 4 to 5 rounds of the 4-7-8, and I downregulate my nervous system, meaning you're in sympathetic nervous system when you work out. That's fight and flight. You need this energy going to your body. And then as you leave, it takes a long time for you to downregulate into parasympathetic nervous system. So you can actually do this on your own with the 4-7-8 method. And the last thing is reading. Guys, this is key. The most successful people have the habits of reading, and there's a reason why. Learning, keeping your brain activated, keeping your brain, stimulated at all times. Reading is one of the most important things. I'm going to have a list of books that I absolutely love. They're all personal developments, of course. So reading is one of the biggest things that you can do as well. So when you do these, these morning rituals, just start with a few. I highly recommend, the journaling. I highly recommend, obviously, the water, the gratitude. Those are key elements. You got to do those. Add in as you can, as many, or stack on as many as you want, but don't overwhelm yourself. Okay, you're going to get frustrated. People that get overwhelmed will stop doing anything. So for the most part, don't overwhelm yourself. Just do a little at a time. Set your time, set your day. I'm telling you guys, you will boost your day when you start it with the great morning ritual. So, all right, thanks again for this, watching this module. You're going to love the next one. It's on fasting and cold therapy, or cold plunges. One of my favorite things to do, and many benefits. So we'll see you in the next one.